Hello everyone, and welcome back to Down to Earth Developments. On this video, I'm going to briefly discuss some of the studying techniques that I have used as a student at the University of Cambridge to boost my own success in my degree. And I hope that by watching this video, you'll be able to implement some of these techniques and methods yourself so that you can improve your own studying game and boost your skills in academics. So let's jump straight in. So the first thing I'm going to talk about on this list is writing questions for your work as a substitute for writing notes. And the reason why I say this is because when you're learning and you're trying to learn new content, you're trying to learn ideas in a degree, you need to be able to use an active recall method in order to properly digest and understand the information. And in order to write questions on a topic, by nature, you have to actually understand the content really well. So when you're writing notes, it's very easy just to zone out and write stuff, but not really understand what you're writing because you're just copy and pasting work from a book onto a piece of paper. And that's not always very effective. So if you instead write questions about your notes, not only are you writing notes in the process, but you're also actively engaging with the content when you write it so that you know when you're writing it, you understand what you're writing, and you're able to interpret it in such a way that you can make it into a question as opposed to an answer. And it also allows you to come back to your notes and actually use them again and go through them and try and answer these questions a little bit later on, just to check that you've actually understood what's happening. So on the notes, you can see that I've literally copied and pasted the information from my lectures into a block format text. Whereas on the right hand side, you can see how I've changed the content from my lecture notes into a question or an idea within a question. Now, the benefit of the right hand side over the left hand side is, first of all, as I've said, I'm actively engaging with the content in order to write these questions. And not only that, I can use these questions again and come back to them and answer them as many times as I need to ensure that I still remember and understand the content correctly. Whereas with the notes on the left hand side, all I can do is reread them, which isn't an effective studying technique. So in essence, if you want to be able to study better and be more effective with your studying so that every hour you're putting in is bringing out a larger benefit, I highly recommend that you switch from writing notes and try out this style of question writing where you interpret, say, a paragraph or a lecture slide and try and adapt it into a question or a central idea about which you can be questioned. And by doing so, you'll find that you're able to engage with your content more, you'll remember it better, and overall, you'll just be more effective at revising. So the second thing that I'm going to discuss in this video is talking about how to use past papers effectively. Now, the first thing you're going to want to know is you don't want to use past papers too early on in the year when you're trying to revise, because if you use them up, chances are they're a finite resource for you, and you need to save them till the end when you understand all the content in order to use them effectively. So going on the assumption of you're going to start your proper revision for your final exams around the start of the final holiday, so I'd say around March, April time. What you want to do is not make the mistake of trying to take notes first and then doing past papers, as I have done in the past, because this is a very ineffective technique and you're going to end up going over a lot of content that you actually already understand, but you didn't know you understood it because you hadn't yet practiced the questions. So here's the method I propose. First step, sit some past papers, untimed conditions with closed book. Second, take the mark scheme of that paper and mark your work against the mark scheme. And the third step is you're going to look at the content you didn't understand from doing the past paper, and that is the content that you're going to read over and try and, consolidate your knowledge on that topic, rather than trying to consolidate your knowledge on all the topics in the paper. And then you're just going to repeat this process. Now, the first stage is going to skip that large chunk of the note-taking, or in this case, as I've suggested before, the question-making, that isn't actually necessary for you to do because you already understand the content well enough to not need to. So you're not wasting time and wasting valuable time revising content and learning content that you already know. The second and the first points combined, so sitting the paper, closed book, and using the mark scheme of the paper to mark your work, this is going to help you build exam techniques. So first of all, you can understand from looking at the mark scheme what each question is actually asking of you and how the examiners turn your content that you've learned throughout the year into exam questions, which are likely different from any supervision questions or demonstration questions that you've been given throughout the year. Now, the third step of this method is a way to consolidate knowledge on things that you don't understand. And I've already spoken about making the questions and why that's effective in the previous part, so I'll leave that out. But hopefully you can see by doing this, you're going to save a lot of time and a lot of energy from unnecessary note making. And you're also going to jump straight into that revision process. And with every paper you sit, you're going to get a little bit better each time. And hopefully by the time you come around to your exams, as has been the case for myself, you'll get there and you'll feel very prepared because you've learned all of the content that you didn't understand from doing the past papers by this point. And you've also sat enough past papers to understand how the structure of the exam works and how you actually get marked based on what you write. The third and final thing that I'm going to briefly discuss in this video in terms of maximizing the efficiency of your revision and your academic learning is going to be to try and create links between different papers and different modules and subtopics within papers and join them into one more cohesive and coherent theory, or at least get them to stick together so that they form one general topic across multiple papers rather than just individual parts of papers and you're just sort of looking at it as the subcategory of each paper than the next paper. If you can join these ideas together, it's actually going to help you a lot in the exam because you're going to be able to recall more knowledge and more information than you would if you just look at them as they are, as subtopics or as modules or even as papers. Now, I actually learned this piece of information from a book that I read recently called Hyperfocus. Now, in this book, the idea discussed is that your attention span is very limited and at most you can hold possibly 4 ideas in your attention at any one time. By linking different subtopics and different papers together into one sort of more cohesive theory, or at least one more general idea, you're able to turn multiple individual ideas into one idea according to the brain. So when you're sitting your exam or when you're revising, you're going to find that you're able to hold more information and attention in your head at any one time. So when you're now thinking about a paper, having used this technique, rather than thinking about, okay, subsections 1 through 4, and that's the 4 things that are in your head taking up your attention, now you're thinking about the fact that you join subsections 1, 2, and 3 together. Subsection 4 is still by itself, but that allows you room for 2 other sections or 2 other papers or ideas at any one time. This is going to make you more creative when you're answering your questions. It's also going to lead to a better interpretation of what the question is asking of you. And overall, it's going to allow you to put out a better answer and a better result than you would do otherwise when you're trying to look at everything in isolation. Now, looking at things in isolation is a technique that may have worked at A-level for you and GCSE level. And that's certainly the case for me. This is something that I very much did. I just learned the subtopics, and when I came to a question, it was easy to notice, okay, this is the subtopic they're asking about. Let me just apply my knowledge from that. The difference of degree level is that you're expected to be able to combine knowledge and cut from paper to paper or from section to section and draw it all together using your own ideas and formulate these connections in your heads rather than them being given to you as subsections. So your answers can't rely on this sectioning of your work as it did in previous stages of your life, and you're going to need to learn how to bring arguments together and how to condense information into smaller points or larger individual points, which will then allow you to hold more of these in your head at any one time and improve your answers. So I hope from this video you've gained a better insight into how I revise as a University of Cambridge student, and you're able to apply these ideas to your own work and your own revision in order to limit the wasted time that you spend making notes and doing less useful revision, and focus instead on that which will give you the biggest impact for the smallest amount of time that you apply. If you do have any further questions about anything, any kind of revision or technique or exam preparation, do drop me a comment and I will do my best to answer it as soon as possible. I'll definitely answer your comments, but it may take me a bit of time because I am revising a lot right now. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It will really help me out a bunch. And I hope in the next few weeks to be dropping a few more videos talking about revision technique or exam preparation. So yeah, stay tuned for that and I will see you soon. Thank you everyone who has watched this video. I really appreciate you all and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.